Welcome to Patchat number 1, Mighty and Magnificent Mistakes. Straight talk about art making. Let me ask you this. Is it possible to make art without mistakes? Do you try to avoid mistakes? Do you dread them? If you answer yes to any one of these questions, this video is for you. If you like what you see, if you enjoy the video, please click like and subscribe. If you have an insight to share, a comment to make, do it. I'd love to hear from you. So why talk about mistakes? Why think about them? Here's why. Artists are storytellers. That's what we do. But how can you tell a story if you're fearful of, is this the right pencil to use? Is this the color choice I want? No. Is this the composition I want to do? If you're focusing on this right way to make your art, or if you think there's a perfect way to approach it, then you become fearful. And you become fearful of making mistakes, and you get miles away from doing the thing that you do best. Tell a story, make art. How we reframe mistakes, if we think about them differently, oh my God, it is creatively freeing. And that's what this is about. Here's something to think about. Do you really want to continue making art being self-conscious? Do you want to constantly look over your shoulder with unreal expectations? Let's flip this around. Think of the times when you started a drawing or a painting or a digital image and you went so deep in the zone, you forgot about time, you even forgot about where you were just right there in the piece. You generated that focus, that deep engagement, that was you. In this video, I will share with you tips to deflate your fear of making mistakes and help you to identify when you get into that mistake zone. It might be helpful to think about other parts of your life, other areas of your life. Are you fearful of making mistakes in those areas of your life? Just think about it. Jot it down. Jot those areas down. Make a list. Because when you do that, you're becoming aware. And that awareness is the first step, really, in deflating your fear of making mistakes. Stay tuned. Where do we get ideas from? How do we form opinions? We are social beings, and we absorb the world around us through family, friends, school, online, in the cultural oxygen we breathe. With that said, let's take a look at the mother of all art myths, because this myth leads to 3 deadly, creativity-crushing assumptions. The mother of all art myths says, an artist lives on Mount Genius, away from life, awaiting divine inspiration to make perfect art. Let's go all detective on this mother of all myths, okay? Where did this myth come from? When did it start? Okay, pack your mental bags. We are going to 16th century Italy. The idea of divine solitary genius started with Giorgio Vasari when he wrote his book, Lives of the Most Excellent Painters, Sculptors, and Architects. Now, he wrote this in 1550, and then he did a second edition in 1568. Now, until Vasari, artists were thought of as anonymous craftsmen, sort of like the blacksmith down the street. Vasari, who, by the way, was an artist, an architect, a writer, a scholar, he blows the lid off of accepting artists as being anonymous. His book started Western art history as we know it today. He wrote about Renaissance artists. He included biographies, portraits. He talked about their achievements, and he talked about style development, meaning how one style of art will evolve from another. No one had even talked like that before him. Now, Vasari was a terrific storyteller, adding juicy tidbits of gossip, giving insights about the quality of their works. Think of it this way: 16th century People magazine meets academic journal. So through his writing, Michelangelo, Raffaello, Leonardo are recognized as great masters with divine creative genius. You know, up until recently, Vasari's definition of artist as solitary male genius, divinely gifted, has been embedded in our Western culture.
But that is changing.
So the mother of all myths spawned 3 deadly, creativity-crushing assumptions. Assumption number 1, an artist makes art, not mistakes. If you are divinely inspired, there is no need for mistakes because mistakes don't happen. Get rid of this 16th century divinely inspired business and replace an artist makes art from hard work, research, passion, experimentation, and is inspired by ideas and insights. Create a mind space that lets you work with intensity and joy. Assumption number 2, mistakes are a source of shame. Now, shame is paralyzing in any situation, but it's especially deadly when making art. You know, it is frustrating working on a piece, dead-ending after hours and hours of working on it. This is the knock-down, get-up creative process that says your talent is elastic enough to hold the fullness of your efforts. When you shame yourself, it's no longer about you making art. It's about you not being enough. Not smart enough, not talented enough, not creative enough to figure it out. Now, if this happens during an art class, whoa, you start looking around and you see that your classmates, they're really making nice work, they're in the groove, they're going at it. Then you get hit with the second whammy. They're figuring things out. Why can't I? And then, what's wrong with me? In art talk, that's what we call KOD, kiss of death. Art making is not shame making. Shame has no place in your studio, mind, or heart. Experimenting, making mistakes, trying new techniques, starting in a new direction, that's growing your talent. We don't come down the cosmic baby chute with fully developed talent. We grow into our talent and learn to trust our creative instincts. The third deadly assumption, An artist automatically and perfectly puts their idea on canvas. When making art, why sabotage yourself with an unreal expectation of instant perfection? What's more important to you? Being an artist or being perfect? When teetering on the edge of uncertainty, opt for compassion and trust your creative self. In this video, we track down the divine genius artist myth and its 3 deadly assumptions. But what we haven't talked about is the one thing all of these things have in common, and that is the curse of binary thinking. Yes, no, binary thinking forms a rigid mindset in search of right answers. It allows no room for complexity, growth, and creativity. It's a talent crusher. So before we end this video, I want to leave you with the artist 2-step. Step 1, create mental space that's open to gray areas. Instead of thinking in binary terms, yes, no, good, bad, allow yourself to see possibility and nuance. In other words, be mentally flexible, open, so your ideas can take root. Step 2, be a free-range thinker. Take ideas, materials, patterns, objects out of their defined roles and rearrange them to make connections where there are none. Finally, expansive, playful thinking creates a crack in certainty and gives shape to big ideas so you can do what you do best. Tell stories and make art. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, click subscribe. Bye.